Hello traders and welcome to the weekly Forex forecast for the week of April 15th, 2019. We're going to start off here in the dollar index and taking a look at the weekly time frame. You can see where it's still in this rising wedge. Had a bit of a mixed week. Let's go ahead and go down to a lower time frame here. You can see that we kind of flagging here a little bit, and I didn't quite reach this 97.70 area. So we're going to be watching that area going into next week here once again for any type of resistance. Otherwise, there's a lot of policy and a lot of talk to try and drive down the dollar. And if that's the case, certainly watch 95, 96 again here for support. Otherwise, if we get a breakout, I believe we're going to probably retest 97.70 here again. The next area would be 98.68, and that would certainly get some notice as we've been in this area since actually been in kind of chopping here since August, kind of grinding higher here. So a lot of policies, trying to get this weaker dollar. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition here, but expect a little bit of weaker dollar going into next week, but might get a spike into that 97.70 area at some point during the week. Going into the euro here, let's go ahead and clean this up here a little bit. You can see that we're still here in this falling wedge type formation. Expected this 111.48 to kind of get spiked into at some point. Didn't quite get that. But we had some bullish moves here. We've had bullish moves here in the past, and the ECB has come out and they're pretty dovish here. Expect, as well as the states here, as a matter of fact. But we've made this higher low here. Expect this to finally kind of break out here at some point. So we're going to be watching, the key breakout point really, let's get this thing up and going, would be 115. But if we can break this trend line here and get above right around 114, that would certainly give us some more bullishness to see this pair start to move higher again on a weekly time frame, making this higher low, and looks very corrective. So expecting this to get supported here a little bit more, and probably see some further bullishness here within the euro. Here in the British pound, also expecting to see a little bit more bullishness here in the pound. The Brexit is definitely the wild card, but that's gotten, they've gotten approved to go ahead and push that out till October 31st. You still need to bring that to Parliament. However, as far as charts go, let's go and go down to a lower time frame here. You can see that, again, very kind of a nothing week, very mixed here. Not a whole lot happened, but you can see this falling trend line, and we're expecting this to get broken here at some point. And if it does get broken, we'll break above 131, really 131.50 or so, 131.40. A break on here on some pretty good bullishness would signal some further higher prices, and I could certainly see us revisiting 133. 133.40, 133.50 area, maybe even this 134.31 area. So if we can get some bullishness here in the pound, we still certainly got some room to the upside here. And you can see it's been kind of compressed here. Might get a little bit of mixed bag to start the week, but we should certainly see some bullishness out of the pound if we can get a nice breakout here. So that's where we're going to go ahead and be leaning towards. The dollar yen, let's go ahead and go back out to a higher time frame. You can see it had a pretty positive week here, and we're threatening here the highs around 112. Was actually watching this area last week for a possible trade to the downside, but we're right here at 112 on pretty good momentum here as well. I'm going to be watching 112.51 and 113.81 here for any type of resistance, but so far the pair goes looks fairly bullish here, more of a risk-on type of tone here. So we'll go ahead and see this. Expecting some higher prices going into next week. If it does reverse, if there's any type of risk off, any type of rhetoric that kind of stops this train so far, we'll watch this 109.91 to 110 area for further support. But expecting a little bit more bullishness going into next week. Threatening right here at resistance, but it looks like it's got pretty good momentum on lower time frames. Aussie dollar had a big week here. Really for, since the end of, September. Right here at the beginning of September, actually, just been really not doing a whole lot, almost unchanged. And we're kind of at that price that we started back in September, almost unchanged. And you can see here with this chart that we have, broken out of this falling trend line here. It's going to go down to a lower time frame. You can see we've broken out of that snapback, and then we had another breakout here once again. Look to see this actually supported here. And I'd like to see this, start to move a little bit higher, get a little bit more bullish here. So we're going to be leaning a little bit more towards the long side here in the Oz. You might be a little bit flat. We're going to be leaning towards the flat to the long side here, especially after this break. And it had a pretty good week overall. Finally kind of broke out of this mess. We'll see if there's any follow through going into this next week. Kiwi dollar, you can see that we're again at the bottom of this range here once again. 67.09 certainly looks to be supported here. Again, nice bullish move off of this. As far as the whole week, last week, and the RBNZ came out and was actually pretty dovish here. But this actually week had a little bit of a recovery bounce here. Not expecting extreme bullishness from this pair, but you could certainly start to see this drift a little bit higher and continue to stay in this range between 67.09 and 69.04. Dollar CAD, really a little bit directionless here. You can see we had back-to-back weeks where kind of getting locked here into this range. And let's go ahead and go down to the lower time frame here. You can see we're kind of wedging here into a triangle type pattern. And, this could go one way or the other. A lot of the news, and there's going to be some Canadian numbers coming out, but a lot of the news and the focus is going to be really focused on Thursday of this upcoming week. And a lot of headline numbers coming out, probably a lot of rhetoric around that, so between a lot of different economies. And hopefully before that we get a little bit more direction here. If we fall to the downside here, I would certainly expect it to reach this 130.93 area and probably get supported there. Otherwise, if we break out further to the upside, which would mean some more dollar strength here, at least 130.40.60 gets tagged, and probably even 136.39 here. But expecting CAD to kind of rebound here and maybe even fall off and, at the very minimum, retest this trend line. And if it does break, retest this 130.93 area. So leaning a little bit more to the downside here in the dollar CAD. Could get bounced around here a little bit, but very aware it could also go to the upside. So a little bit of a mixed bag here, and just need to see this one break above 130.40.60, 134.60 here for some bullishness, and 132.95. So if I were to give any advice, I'd certainly wait for it to break one way or the other before positioning yourself in this pair. Here in the Euro Yen, let's go and go to a weekly time frame here. You can see pretty bullish here on the day, and actually a pretty bullish week here as well. Expecting higher prices here as you probably get some follow through with the dollar yen, maybe a little bit drift higher with the euro as well. Watching currently 127.16. If it breaks out, 129.22 be next area of resistance. Supporting at 123.33. A little bit more bullish on this pair. Not extremely bullish, but mildly bullish here. You're going to certainly get some resistance here at 127.16. We'll see how it holds up there. If dollar yen really kind of explodes and can carry this pair a little bit higher, I could certainly start threatening 129.22. Aussie yen had a good end of the week here, as a matter of fact. Aussie yen broke out here on the week on some pretty good bullishness. I'd certainly start to lean towards the long side here, as there's more, again, that risk-on type of nature, kind of rippling through the markets here a little bit. I wouldn't say full risk-on, but you can kind of see here in the currency pair, Aussie yen's a pretty good indication of that. I'll be looking for any type of flagging patterns, and again, leaning towards the long side here, watching, right around current prices for resistance, but should that break, if we flag here and then break that on momentum, certainly would watch 82.29 as the next area of resistance, but leaning more bullish here on this pair. And then finally here in the pound yen, you can see we pulled back a little bit of a mixed bag, similar to the pound dollar. Going down to a lower time frame here, you can see kind of wedging here, and still leaning towards the long side here in this pair. Made a little bit of a higher low here on the week, and expecting this to at least retest this 149.26 area at some point. Brexit willing, I guess, if there's a rhetoric kind of holds true, we should see 149.26 on some bullishness in the pound and in the yen pairs as well. And certainly could see that get tagged. Still supported here at 144.16, but overall leaning towards the long side here, slightly long here in the pound yen. That's our weekly Forex forecast for the week of April 15th, 2019. Good hunting out there, and happy trading.